So it's time to actually create our rating component. So our rating component will sit right here. It's going to have more styling than this. And then we also want to be able to reuse this in other pages. So that's why we will make it into its own component. And it's also got some of its own logic. So we want to keep that separate from everything else. So let's go ahead and start by adding this into our product component. So in product.js, and let's first edit it, and then we will actually create the component itself. So we'll get some errors. Go ahead and ignore those until we complete this. So the first thing is we want to add the value. So what is the rating itself? So we'll just take in this product rating, pass it in as a prop, and then the next prop we want to pass in is going to be text. So this is what the component says. So this is going to be num reviews, and then this reviews text right here. So we'll just use some backticks, and then we will go ahead and add that variable. So we'll pass in num reviews, and then we'll just pass in uh, reviews, and so I just wanted to make sure not to delete this so we can see what's going on here and how this is going to be different. So there we go. We have our rating component with the two props, and the last prop I actually want to pass in. So I will just do that right now. This is going to be color. So this is going to be a hex color here, and I'm just going to paste this in. So we'll pass that in, and that's a shade of yellow. We'll pass this in, and I actually need to pass this in with quotes here. So we want to make sure that hex actually works, and this is our rating component. So we also need to import it here. So let's just say from our components here, we are in the same file. So we'll just do dot rating, and then we'll just import rating. So import rating from the rating file. Now we just need to create this. So it's with header, footer, and our product.js. So it's still in the components folder. Let's go ahead and create that. So rating.js, and let's create the component. So RFC for the functional component, and the first thing I want to do is destructure the props here. So we pass in three props. We pass in the value, so the rating itself, the text of, and the color value and text color. So for this div, I want to give this a class name, and I want to call this rating, and we are going to use font option to actually render out the star, and we are going to write some logic here. So depending on what the rating is and how much of the star needs to be filled out, that's going to change the color, and that we are outputting to this component here. So we'll start with the span tag, and then our logic will be written within this I tag here. So the first thing I want to do actually is pass in the color. So we'll just pass in style and we'll pass in that color prop. So automatically the stars are going to be made yellow. So to actually give this an icon, an actual star icon, we are going to do what we did in our header. Here we added in that font of some CDN and use this car and user icon, cart and this login type user icon. So all we need to do is just give this a class name, and this class name actually needs some logic. So depending on if this is going to be depending on what the value of this prop is, we need to change. If that is going to be a full star, a half star, or empty star. So the first thing we are going to do, I'll actually just indent this right here, and we are going to say if the value is greater than or equal to 1, then what I want to do is give this a rating or a class of FAS FA dash star. So this will be a solid star. Now we'll also want to check if the value is going to be greater than or equal to 0.5. So if the value is greater than or equal to 0.5, let's write that out. Then what we want to do is we want to give this a half star. So we'll just say FAS FA dash star dash half dash alt. So it's a thing that's going to be give us a half star now after this. So we also want to be able to have an empty star. So if it is not greater than or equal to 1, or it's not greater than or equal to 5, we want to make sure this is empty. So we'll just say FA or FA dash star, and that's going to give us an empty star. So let's go ahead and see if this worked. So here we go, and we have 1 star, and all of these have a rating greater than 1. So they are going to be solid. So what I want to do is just go ahead and repeat this 4 more times. So we need 5 stars total. So I will grab this span tag and we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have 5 stars, and they all have this logic. But what we need to do is we need to change. So we have the 1 star right here, the first star, and we need to change this to 2, and then we need to change this to 1.5, like that. Then we just need to go ahead and advance the rest of them. So 3 and then 2.5, 4 and 3.5, and the so as each star improves, this logic will change up a little bit. And if we look here, if I refresh that, something looks a little bit off here, and so that star shouldn't be here, it should be to the right. Must have mixed up that logic here, and let's just go ahead and take a look here, and it looks like maybe it's my last star. So my last star needs to be at 5 and 4.5. So let's save that. And that looks more accurate. So we have 3 stars, 4 stars and half star right there. So I hope that makes sense. So we just wrote that logic out once and then repeated that, and we are increasing that star rating each time. So the only condition comes in during this class name here. So we are just changing that class, we are giving that star or this I tag depending on what that rating is. So the last thing we need to do is use this text prop. And remember, in our product component, when we passed in rating, we also gave it a prop called text. And we've passed in the number of reviews with that string. So just want to be able to say what that rating is depending on how many reviews that we have, and we want to see something like 4.5 stars out of 10 reviews or whatever that value is. So let's just take that rating or that text component or prop, and I want to pass that in at the bottom. So bottom of my page here. So just underneath the last star, this is where I want to add it. So I'll just say span, and after the last star, we'll just say the text exists. So we'll just paste that in. So we'll just say if it is exist, then add in the text. If it does not, don't use this value, it will just be empty. So now if I look at this, we can actually see out of how many reviews that rating is, makes it look uh, a lot better. So the last thing I want to do is go into index.css and add some styling here. So remember, in our rating component, we gave it the class of rating. So for rating, I just want to be able to say rating, and then for the span tag, I want to add some margin here. So for that margin, I want to set that to 1 or 0.1 rem. So before I save that, I want to actually split the screen so we can see what's happening. And if I save that, there we go. We added some margin here, and I also want to add in some spacing here for that h3 tag. So for this, we'll just use padding, and we'll just say padding, and we'll set top and bottom to 1 rem. And that's going to be it. So if I save that, there we go. So let's look at that. That looks pretty good. And if I go to full screen, yeah, that takes care of itself. So reviews does get pushed down. But this is also because I'm zoomed in at like 175% right now on my screen. And it's super zoomed in, but it should look good on your screen. So in the next video, what we are going to do is add in React router. So when we click on this page here, it will actually take us to the product page. So we are going to build out a product screen or a product page and then actually handle that routing.